Today. Did you get a haircut, Coach? You're looking pretty good. How are you?
It's the bye week. After the bye week last week, you have time to do things like that. So I did get trimmed up a little bit.
They call it the bye week haircut, Prater.
They said that at the Boise State press conference the other day, and I thought they were joking. It must be a real thing, huh, Coach?
It's a thing.
If you said it, I didn't believe it when Andy Avalo said it. When you say it, I believe it, my friend.
The bye week haircut. Coach, how did the bye week go? How did it help your team? How did it help you get ready for this, showdown in the Kibbie on Saturday, Coach Eck?
Well, one, we called it the improvement week around here. It wasn't a bye week. So I think we had some really good fundamental work and some scheme things that, we had to shore up that we had shown as weaknesses this year and hadn't executed great. So we got that stuff fixed. It was also some really good time for some guys to heal up, guys coming off injury or who got injured in the last game. And then good recruiting. Spent a lot of time on recruiting. We had all 13 guys in our staff who can go on the road out last Friday night watching games throughout the West. And it was good. And now it's been good. We've had extra time to prepare for Montana State, which is excellent. We had an extra walkthrough on them Sunday night and then practice and pads on Monday and Tuesday. And this is just really like a bonus day now. So it's good to have extra time to prepare off of a bye week.
Coach, how good is Montana State? I know they're 6-1, 4-0. They've been on a roll right now. I mean, what's up? What are you guys up against here?
They're really good. They may be the best team we've played since I've been in Idaho. I think they're that good. Really good schemes up front. I think they've done a really good job, Coach Vegan, there of using their personnel. They've really done a tremendous job of fitting their schemes to their players. They have two quarterbacks who can really run. One's a big guy who I think came with to there from Wyoming, was with Vegan there, Chambers, and then Tommy Malott. And I coached against him when I was at South Dakota State. Accurate thrower, but really, really fast. Probably like a sub 11-second 100-meter guy, and a really good offensive line. Really good defensive front. Good on special teams. I mean, they're a good team. I mean, they're clearly number 2 for a reason. And it's going to be a great challenge, but great challenges are always great opportunities.
Idaho Vandals football coach Jason Eck getting you ready for Saturday's game in the Kibbie Dome against Montana State. Coach, everybody says in this profession, you get haircuts and bye weeks apparently, and you always learn more about your football team after a loss. What have you learned about your football team in the last 10 days?
Well, I think they're resilient, and I think they even showed that during the game, when we were down 20-0. I think I've been on some teams where, that's a wrap. We'd start wrapping it up and you could say good night. But, we battled back and gave ourselves opportunities to win the game late in the game. And I think we practiced well. I think it's a prideful team. We spent a lot of time talking about just how little time, we're guaranteed together. It's about 3.5 weeks that we're guaranteed. We're only guaranteed 4 more games. And, we got to take advantage of every opportunity we have. And, we really tried to refocus just on, we got to focus on the next play. And we got to do a great job with the next play, whether that's in practice, whether it's in a game, whether it's even in a film study in a meeting, to do a great job with that.
Coach, as you know, in these big games, and you got a big game at home, this last game in Montana, against Montana, what was at home? Your football team has been so spectacular getting off to great starts in the first quarter and the first half. And you fell behind in that Montana game. What makes you a good, fast-starting team, and what happened against Montana that you're trying to prevent against Montana State?
Well, number one, bad coaching by me. We won the toss, and I deferred, and I should have taken the ball. We scored every time all series, and I out-thunked myself. So I thought we'd let the crowd get into the game and get everybody hyped up. But, no, that was a mistake. I won't make that mistake again. I'm sure we're going to start with the ball because I know if they win, they're going to defer. But we'll take it this week. We got a great offense and want to get the ball in our quarterback's hands, get it in Anthony Woods, get it in Hayden Hatton's hands, and let them go to work and try to get off to a fast start. Because, Montana, even the South Dakota State game that they lost, they were up 10-0 at halftime. So they haven't had to play from behind a lot this year.
Coach Eck with us, Mike Prater, Johnny Ballgame, Prater on the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk here, Blind Appeal College Football Hour. Coach, the crowd, you've seen it like that before when you were there in the Erickson and Holt era when certain teams would come in and you just see the dome pop. It certainly was against Montana. You're expecting that this week. Just your thoughts on where it was last game and how bad you need that atmosphere again, Coach.
That crowd was awesome. And again, the only game that really was on the same level as that was 2006 when I was there against Boise State. So
yep.
Tremendous atmosphere. I think it was a little learning for our team too. We got to handle that better. I think some of our guys, got a little too overhyped and made some, unforced errors just because of their hype level and stuff. So, we got to, not get too caught up in the moment, make sure we just execute the play ahead of us. But our fans were a difference in that game. Montana had to waste some timeouts because of communication issues, and looking like it's going to be another great crowd again. So hopefully, it's a huge difference in the game again. The one game that Montana State has lost this year, they had 8 or 9 false starts at South Dakota State. They struggled with the crowd noise there. So we need your crowd if people who are listening are coming to the game.
Coach Jason Eck, Idaho Vandals football. Since you've taken over this program, you've made it a clear priority. I don't know if it's the number one priority, but talking about the playoff picture and getting Idaho Vandal football back into the postseason, you restructured your schedule. A lot of the things that you do are to gear up for things in late November and early December. Let me throw out a couple of hypotheticals. With a second straight loss, what does that do? And if you come back and beat Montana State, do you feel like you're comfortably in at that point?
I'd say neither. I think 7 wins in Division I is really a big criteria, and I feel pretty good about our chances if we get to 7 wins. So this isn't an elimination game if we would lose it. I do think it's a really quality win, to beat a team like Montana State, which I think helps with getting a seed. I feel pretty comfortable though that if we can get to 7 wins, we would be in like we were in last year. 8 wins, depending on who you beat. 8 wins, and one of those is Montana State. I think that has a great chance of getting a seed in one of the top 8 teams. You win out, I think you're definitely a seed and probably a high seed. So each game matters, down the stretch. This could certainly help our resume considerably, but I don't think it puts us a little bit more pressure if you lose this game on the last 3. But again, I really feel like getting to 7 wins would get us in. But getting home games, getting seeds, that's really important if you want to make a run.
No question. 2 p.m. Mountain Time, ESPN Plus at the Kibbie, Idaho hosting Montana State, one of the biggest games in FCS football so far this season. Coach, at the FCS level, where is sign stealing? We're talking about this today. We're reading all about it with Michigan now. Bruce Barnum is talking about Dan Hawkins going to his game last week to watch his son coach, but he sat right behind the Portland State bench. And just when Jason Eck hears about all this stuff in college football, what goes through your head, all these sign stealing stories, Coach?
Well, sign stealing is real. I think I do think the in-person part of it is different, because that's outlawed. In-person scouting is outlawed. Recording the sideline is outlawed. So I think there should be definite penalties if people are breaking that. It's part of the reason I like huddling. We huddle. You can maybe steal our signals within game, but we have no carryover from week to week in our steal signaling. But I think that's pretty common that coaches are trying to talk to other coaches and what signals did you have on this team?
Yeah,
that type of thing. It sounds like some teams are taking that to a whole nother level. With scouting, I don't know if anybody in FCS has the finances to finance, sending guys across the country to in-person scout and steal signals. But no, it's definitely a part of it. I think if I was ever in that position where my son was, coaching, I'd probably call the coach first and kind of clear it with him and stuff. I get wanting to watch your son coach, but I think that's also a touchy issue if you have somebody on the schedule coming up.
As you know, Coach, the NFL uses the helmet and the communications, the green dot with the linebacker and the quarterback, and they'll experiment with some bowl games this postseason at the FBS level. Hopefully, this offseason, college football goes in that direction and just does the helmet telecommunication thing. I don't know if that's a finance issue for the FCS level, but would you be for that? Do you see that happening at your level?
I think, definitely FBS can afford that. It might be a little bit of a thing there. I still think it hurts you at the tempo teams. Still most teams in the NFL are huddling. If you're going to be a no huddle team, a lot of times you're signaling so that, you're not just giving it to the quarterback and he's giving it to everybody else. You want the signals so that everybody sees it right from the sideline. You can run the plays, fast right at the line of scrimmage. So, I think that would, make things easier. I'd be for it because I don't think it'd be that expensive. Again, we still got 2 money games for a few more years, so I think we can finance it. But
yeah, right.
We may have to tear it out once we go back to a 1 money game and it started in 26. But I still think it'd be an issue for teams who want to go fast and no huddle, because I think that's it's not them all going to the quarterback and getting the play who's coming in, because it's not the NFL has one guy who has the voice to the sideline. It's not all 11 guys getting the play directly from the quarterback. And I think that would be much more costly if every helmet, I think in the NFL, they even put I think they put a dot or something on the back of the helmet to denote, because you can only have one of those helmets in the game at a time. So I think it would still be an issue because there's so many teams in college that are no huddle.
Well, Coach, we'll let you get to practice. We always appreciate you stopping by. Let's get them this week and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Prater. Thanks, Ballgame. V's up.
Jason Eck, head football coach, Idaho Vandals. He says, Prater, he would have given a courtesy call to say, hey, I'm going to go watch my son play, FYI. We're going to get back to that at 5 o'clock. Maybe that changes the way Prater or myself think about that instance that happened over the weekend, which we will get to. Until then, the Blind Appeal College Football Hour continues. Underrated? Overrated? Maybe I'll let them take a push or two today. It's Prater in the Ballgame. Coming up, Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK, The Ticket.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is Ticket Traffic.